Hello. Yesterday, members of the National Unity Platform in the United States of America in Boston gathered together on a retreat. The retreat was known as the NUP Action Day. It was virtually blessed by His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, as well as other dignitaries from Uganda to represent the National Unity Platform from the Secretariat that included the Secretary General, other MPs, and so many other people. It was a very, very big turn-up. The people who attended the retreat a day before had attended a momentous demonstration at the United Nations General Assembly that was taking place. Now, today I'm here to discuss that what does this retreat really mean, number one. Number two, can it really harm Museveni? Number three, and why has Museveni really failed to get hold of the diaspora? And also, how can the National Unity Platform, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, tighten their grip on the diaspora? This is The Breakdown, and my name is Amanja Fazil. All right. So guys, now, yesterday, we saw something that has not happened before, something that is getting much bigger, something that is getting much gargantuan, should I say. I don't know if I should use that word, but I was really, really excited to see the events that happened in Boston yesterday, and the retreat that really happened that was really, really successful. And it really sent a very powerful message to the Ugandan government as well as Museveni's dictatorship. Now, first and foremost, in this retreat, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu was supposed to be there. But unfortunately, while on his trip at a stopover in Qatar, he was blocked, whereby he had been in South Africa earlier on, and then South Africa had been one of the red lists, and people from South Africa had to quarantine for 14 days. Unfortunately, because of the engagements in South Africa, and he had not yet, the 14 days of quarantine had not yet elapsed, so he was not able to travel to this particular event. What happened was he only stopped in Qatar, and he had to head back to Uganda. But he was there virtually and delivered a keynote speech to the people who had gathered for this particular event. What is this retreat all about? The so-called NUP Action Day retreat. Now, the NUP Action Day retreat is where Ugandans in the diaspora, especially in America, because this is where it has started, where they gather and talk about, because the topic of the day was, strategies and things that they can do in order to strengthen the fight against the dictatorship in Uganda. So the Ugandans come together, they gather together, they speak about these issues, they interact with leaders from the Secretariat, they interact with leaders who are in positions of power, for example, the members of parliament, as well as interacting with the president himself of the National Unity Platform. And that is what literally went down. Then afterwards, they had they can have a merry and that kind of stuff. But before all that, they did some sort of protests at the United Nations General Assembly that was taking place at the time. And as you can see in the pictures, so many people really, really turned up at the United Nations General Assembly to protest. And I mean, I think we had the biggest numbers at this particular protest. And that's why you see even people like Museveni, they no longer want to travel to the diaspora, because they know no one will be there to roll down the red carpet for them or to embrace them and get such kind of crowds welcoming them that are legitimate. Unlike in Uganda, Museveni can pay off people and fetch supporters from different districts. Museveni supporters are always the same. Like if you look in pictures, and you identify a face, that same face, you will see it in the northern part of Uganda, you will see it in the western part of Uganda, as well as the central. They are the same people that are being transported all over the place, and they are given transport allowance as well as food. But these are people who had actually come for the love of their country, people who want to go back home, and so on and so forth. So the retreat, that is what it is essentially about. It was at the Marriott Hotel, and it was highly organized. You could see that this was an event that was so befitting of a duly elected president of Uganda, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, whose victory was literally stolen. But nevertheless, this is really a good start, and it really showed, something that is really important that I'm going to tell you of in my next episode. Now, can this really harm Museveni? Because some people say, okay, you guys did a literate. Yes, you went to the United Nations General Assembly and you protested and all this kind of stuff. So it was not going to create a dent in Museveni's leadership. Yes, you did all this kind of stuff. Now, let me tell you one thing. There is no autocrat in this world. There is no dictator in this world who will sit back and see an organized group of Ugandans that are far out of reach of him, that are organizing events that are pulling crowds as these people pulled, and he settles in well. He's not going to be settling. He's not going to be settled. Because what happened yesterday is that every strategy that Museveni has tried in order to counter, in order to silence, in order to suppress the diaspora has failed. He has given them money, he has scared the people, he has arrested them, he has even hired people to do all sorts of intimidations, but it has failed. And I will come to the point of failure, why Museveni is failing. Now, what you see here is Museveni, his strategy for the diaspora, he has always been that I will go through their leaderships. For example, we have leadership communities like the United Kingdom community of Ugandans, blah, blah, blah. Then you also have the you have the Ugandan, something called UNA. Ugandans in North America, blah, 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 something called UNA, one of the oldest diasporan organizations, if not the oldest diasporan organizations in the diaspora of Ugandans living in the diaspora. It is called UNA. Now, when Museveni took power in 1986, I think that is when even the organization was formed. So the organization has been highly politicized, and they have thrown a lot of money because Museveni always sends something like 50,000 is it? Yeah, 50 or 100,000 US dollars per year to help run the activities of this particular UNA so-called organization. So the organization has been literally politicized. It does not care about Ugandans. It does not care about anyone. It is more like an NRM outfit that is there to spy on Ugandans and all this kind of stuff. Now, with having such kind of a retreat day, because what UNA literally does is they sit down and have some sort of, they organize drinking days and that kind of stuff and events and bring musicians to come and sing. And then afterwards, they go back home and wait for the next year. Literally, that's what they do. If Ugandans are getting killed, UNA doesn't issue a statement. If Ugandans are getting blocked or anything is happening, they do not say a single word. But when it comes to Mary, like partying and all that kind of stuff, they are very active. Now, for the very long time, Museveni has had a grip of UNA. But now we see something that has propped up that is going to rival UNA. Trust me. This is really a big threat because it is going to cut the power that UNA has been having in the diaspora. Secondly, it is giving Ugandans in America an alternative, because most people would go to UNA because nothing was there, to go to, that it was even substantial, that was even, something that they would really go and speak and talk about issues that are affecting in Uganda, and then they can do the rest of the other stuff, entertainment and all this kind of stuff. You go and protest and all this kind of stuff. So people not only gather to marry or not only gather to, to do entertainment and all that stuff, but they do all that stuff. And all besides that, they also, do something for their particular nation and do something for their particular country. So this is really a big threat for Museveni, because now America has solidified its stronghold that it is entirely NUP, it is entirely opposition. So I don't know how he's going to fight back with this, but I don't think it's going to work. Recently, Museveni, of course, issued the ambassadors, and all these people are literally just eating money from Museveni, telling him that, yes, we can help you with these people, we can help you with so and so, but it is not working. Because these people, if it was working, people would not be turning up for protests. If it was working, events like these, I would not be having so many people gathering together. So Museveni is literally worried, because if people can gather and do such kind of thing, and Bobby Wine addresses them and MPs attend these events, because now what it means, what this retreat they mean is that it gives the party or the organization activities to do about in the diaspora. That now you can send the leader of opposition, you can send MPs and so many other people to come and be part of these particular events. So that is really, really something very, very big that has affected Museveni and why he's scared. And we also see for the very first time that the Ugandan media has covered an event that has happened in the diaspora that is to deal with the NUP. Back in the days, we have been doing protests, we have been doing so many things, but the Ugandan media has always been shying away to cover these events. I don't know why. But today, we saw at least the event being written about and being talked about. And what a powerful speech that His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu delivered. Because the audience that now Bobi Wine has in the diaspora, Museveni is envious. Do you think Museveni would not love to speak to the diasporans? Do you know why he would like to speak to diasporans? It is because we contribute $1.1 billion US per year in terms of remittances. Now, for people who contribute such an amount of money to the GDP of Uganda, at least it's what, 5% or 1% of the GDP? I mean, that's a lot of money. For you to speak in those people, because they can easily say, okay, we shall pull our 1.1 billion. Now, for good measure, the United States of America, the biggest sponsor, whatever, donor country to Uganda, also provides close to $1 billion in terms of budget financing and all this kind of stuff they do, in terms of aid and all that kind of stuff. It's amounted to $1 billion. For us, in 2020, the figures show that we gave 1.1 billion. That is during the pandemic. So that's a lot of money. So wouldn't you really like to talk to these people? Now, so why has Museveni really failed in the diaspora? Why has his strategy failed? Because I want to get this balanced so that we know that we do not fall into the same mistakes that these other political parties have failed. And then, because if we do the same mistakes, we're also likely to lead to the same ditch. So we should be very careful. Whereas we are enjoying this moment of success, we need to tighten the grip. We need to make sure that we capitalize on these people's failures, right? And then make sure that we use those failures in order to strengthen the diaspora, in order for NUP to strengthen the diaspora. Now, number one, we all understand that Museveni, you don't have to tell that people that Museveni has done this and this and that. Literally, there is no program that Museveni has put out there that shows that, okay, he cares about the diaspora. He only wants to coerce them. He wants to buy them off with peanuts, giving them pennies that, oh, you guys get £2, get $2. He thinks that he can buy people off with $2. The people in the diaspora, what they want is a peaceful transfer of power, number one. They want Uganda to be at peace. They don't want to feel threatened and all that kind of stuff. The other thing that why Museveni has lost, it is that he is working so much with, he tries to compromise, organizations that are here in order to keep an eye out on Ugandans that are here, that are doing all this kind of stuff. Because what he is trying to do is not trying to, to recruit or create strong institutions, right? To create strong institutions or to create strong chapters like NUP did. It's not what he's trying to do. For Museveni's politics is the kind of politics that deals with an issue not in the long term, but deals in that issue with the short term. That are there Ugandans making noise in the diaspora? What can I do? How much do you want? Pay them, go. Then the next time they will come back, go, and all that kind of stuff. And now, also Museveni's threats, we understand that we have injected 1.1 billion in 2020. But Ugandans in the diaspora are literally getting nothing back. The best they are getting is just $50,000 that they always give to UNA. That's the best that he can offer. $50,000 that they offer to UNA. You know the number of Ugandans in the diaspora? It's close to 1 million. You look at Ugandans in China, they were stranded during the COVID-19 pandemic. What happened? They left them there to fend for themselves. The Ugandans in Afghanistan, Afghanis were brought and given all the luxurious first-class 5-star hotel, put into hotels and all that kind of stuff. Ugandans in Afghanistan, they were told, okay, you guys, I think you can trek from Afghanistan. You go via the mountains there in Iraq, and then when you reach Yemen around the Red Sea, we might pick you from Somalia. You can link up with the people in the, what do you call that area? In Al-Shabaab in Somalia there, and then we can pick you from there with the UPDF. They told them to walk. You get it? I think you do understand the point, okay? So if you do such kind of things, definitely no one is going to love you. Secondly, it is that the Ugandans in the diaspora have experienced a life that is much better, and they know that Uganda can be better. They know that Uganda should be better. Because if they look at the healthcare system, the social services, the politics here, the democracy, the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, without fear of being arrested, without fear of being killed, the freedom to express your views, can Museveni provide that? He knows if he provides all that, if these demands are met that the diasporans want, he won't be in power the next day. So what can NUP do? NUP should broaden its scope on how it works with the diaspora. 1.1 billion US dollars is not little money. The National Unity Platform should make sure that such action days should be replicated in other chapters in the United Kingdom, in Sweden, in Netherlands, and all these other places. I know people in Dubai have been doing it very good. The people in South Africa also did it very perfect, but it has to be taken to another level. The engagements between the Secretariat, the engagements within the people in Kampala should now be, it should actually increase with the diaspora. The diaspora should be taken very seriously because Museveni understands two things. If he is working with the diaspora, he has two things that he does. He says that if I do not get the Ugandans in the diaspora, I will get the governments in the West. That is the United States government, the South Africans, as well as the UK, in order to agree with him. You get the point. So there, he still has a way, is still a way ahead of us, especially working in these offices, Downing Street, Washington, through his lobbyists and all the kind of stuff, with all the money that he throws to them. They do the lobbying for him, and they look the other way to sanitize his regime. So what we should do, because in order to match what Museveni is doing, paying these PR firms, we should empower and increase our efforts within the Ugandan communities in the diaspora, because literally we have the support of Ugandans living in the diaspora. And the Ugandans living in the diaspora can easily push for reform within the corridors of power in either Washington as well as the United Kingdom. So NUP should take the diaspora as seriously as possible. It should be engaging the diaspora as much as possible. It should be having, I think, as many engagements as possible on how they can improve and how they can work together. The leader of opposition, they should be clear things of what the NUP are going or will be doing for the diaspora. Right? These things should be clear in terms of investment, in terms of different issues, and all those issues should always be, spoken about in one way or the other. And by doing that, even the people who are in NRM, who are in the diaspora, the little few, will always be able to cross over, and they're like, you know what, guys, these guys actually have much better policies than the NRM. But this is a good start. This is something that is really good. The event was really colorful, what was really perfect. And let me tell you one thing. There is no one in Uganda who is in the NRM who actually saw that event and it left them the same. Do you know what it means for Muhoozi not to be able to leave the country? Do you know what it means for Natasha, Museveni, and all these other people? Have you ever seen Muhoozi or these other people, all these other guys speaking to the diasporans? They cannot, because they cannot travel, number one. Number two, there are no Ugandans who are going to come and listen to them. That's what they're afraid of. But even if, let me tell you, I can guarantee you, without fear of contradiction, if Muhoozi held a diaspora event and Solomon Kampala, the 14-year-old Bobi Wine's son, held an event in the diaspora, I can guarantee Museveni, Salim Saleh, Natasha Kalujire, and all the entire Museveni crime family combined, if they held an event and Solomon Kampala held an event, I bet Solomon Kampala will get more people to listen to him than Mr. Museveni and his crime family. Without fear of contradiction, that one I know. So that shows the power of how really Ugandans really want change. So to wind this down, more action days should be done. More action days should be put out there. More things should be done. More activities should be brought up, and more strategies should be, brought up. And also, the NUP should work so much in order to improve their media. I will do an episode about the media thing, but then they should make sure that they always move with the media team in order to cover these events, in order to publicize these events, so that other people can know about what NUP is doing, as well as how it's working with the diaspora. Otherwise, without any further thing. I would like to thank you for watching this particular episode, and thank you very much for listening to me. If you found this video to be useful, or if you found a few things that I've spoken that maybe you might agree or disagree, you can always leave it in the comment down below. But also give the video a thumbs up so that it can help reach different people and the organizers of the event. Thank you very much. You guys did a very wonderful job. And also just share the video with your friends, and we shall meet in the next one. Bye-bye.